Let me start by saying that African Union is the most useless institutions that I've come to see in this entire world. Out of all the world's organization, African Union is the most useless one out of all of it. That institutions actually, it is full of puppets, leaders who are sitting over there and trying to speak in behalf of Africans. These leaders, they seem not to be understanding the language or what Africans want all over around the world. Whatever Africans get to declare, whatever Africans want them to do, they don't do it. They are showing to us that they're the most useless leaders who are at the service of the Western, and they are there to protect the interests of the Western. I now understand why Ibrahim Traoré and some of the Sahel leaders distance themselves from all this, because this institution is just something else.
African leaders had a lot of topics to discuss. The conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo topped the agenda.
We are all very, very concerned about an open regional war in over Eastern DRC. And this, we reiterated the need for caution and the need for M23 and its supporters to disarm and withdraw from the Goma airport and other occupied territories.
Leaders called for humanitarian and trade routes to remain open and what some of them call uninvited countries supporting the M23 rebel group to leave the DRC. But DRC's president, who did not attend the summit, has previously said he will not talk to M23.
Of production in a rural settlement, and that's where usually the conflicts are very, very acute. So it really affects us, because if we want to go to development, we need to have peace.
This summit was the next stage in regional efforts to end the conflict in the DRC.
This AU summit, which just took place last weekend, it was a good opportunity which these African leaders had in order for them to address the matters that is happening in Congo between the Congolese government and the Rwanda, who's busy supporting or backing up the M23, that they're busy killing people in the eastern of Congo, as you all know by now. But they sit over there, they discuss the matters, they're touching it, and they're not finding the true solution. When Paul Kagame is sitting right there, when the Secretary General of the United Nations is sitting right there, and when all this Western, whether it is the European unions, whether it is the Americans, they have sent their delegates over there. On my side, I was hoping to see them making a move so that they can send a loud message to the Western, who are the true mastermind behind what is happening in the Eastern Congo. But unfortunately, these people, they end up having another close blind eye on whatsoever is happening over there in Congo. They are talking about addressing these matters, but in reality, this is not the solution which people of Congo or people of Africa need to hear right now.
So, confirmed the positions that we took ourselves to enhance peace in the DRC, a position that was adopted by SADC and the joint summit between SADC and the EAC. So that having been adopted, we now look forward to a real concerted effort to have a ceasefire in the DRC, and to be able to get to a point where we can bring our soldiers back home as we consolidate the peace, as there are confidence-building measures that will now get underway more effectively. In the end, the decisions of the AU are binding on all of us, and the Peace and Security Commission, having met and taken the decision, and in the presence of the various heads of states as well, and the report is going to be tabled tomorrow, that in itself will be binding on really any country, because if any country does not abide, then it becomes an outlier for negativity. And I do believe that much as President Tshisekedi was in Munich attending another process that has to do with peace and all that, his representatives were here and they participated. So I do believe that the decisions of the AU in that regard will be binding, and we're looking forward to peace being engendered in the DRC. We want peace. We who have been toiling for years assisting the people of the DRC are going to be putting pressure on everyone more in a focused way to ensure that there is peace that is installed so that we also have.
According to all the reports, they are telling us saying that no, they have asked for the ceasefire between the government of Congo and the one of these rebellions of M23 backed by Rwanda. But yet in actions, we can only see on one side of the government of Kinshasa, they are kind of like obeying to this order, yet the M23, which is being backed by Paul Kagame with his allies, they are not respecting this report or this request which the United Nations had asked them to do. Instead of the M23 respecting this order given by the United Nations, well, that seemed to be like a drop of water in the ocean. So, you know, like when you don't owe any explanation to anyone, instead they choose to not only keep Goma, which they had already with some part of the DR Congo under their authorities, but now they have to make a move on a big city such as Bukavu.
Rwandan-backed rebels have seized another key city in eastern Congo. The regional governor has confirmed that Bukavu is in the hands of M23 fighters after government forces withdrew. The regional capital, Goma, fell to rebels last month.
And what is surprising about all this is the way they end up having Bukavu in such an easy way. No any resistance from the Congolese government. We look for the Congolese soldiers to see where they can be found. They were nowhere to be found. These M23 soldiers, they entered the city of Bukavu in such an easy way without any fight against the government of Congo. And this ended up reminding us of what the chief of this rebellion group, Nanga, had said, that after taking Goma, is going to take more cities and is going to take also Kinshasa, which is the capital of the Republic Democratic of Congo. With all the confidence, we end up understanding that how can this man be saying all this? Well, the man have the courage to say all this because he knows very well that people who are backing him, they are the one who already corrupt many people, including even within the Congolese government, who are there, who are at their service. Do you guys still remember what happened with one of the general chief commanders in Bukavu, who was caught with a SIM card, not a Congolese card, but a SIM card which belonged to Rwanda. So these are the evidence which shows that the man actually has been communicating with the whole the government of Rwanda. They're the one who get to tell him what to do, and him is there to report to them, to tell them that the soldiers that at this point, or the soldiers, they are being ordered in order for them not to fight you, but they have to do this and that. Because we still don't understand. Normally it's supposed to be either the Congolese government fighting to get back Goma, which they had took last week. And unfortunately that's not the case, because now we're seeing a government which is allowing the rebellions, they are coming in so easily. And we're looking for Congolese soldiers. There's no way to find them because they had to receive a certain kind of orders in order for them to evacuate and leave the whole place empty. And all this, I'm blaming the African Union organizations, because this is the place where these leaders, they're supposed to be having courage to tell each other the truth right into their faces. These leaders, they are all aware that Paul Kagame, with his government of Kigali, they are involved. They are the one who are backing up these rebellions. These rebellions, they are busy destroying the life of Congolese. They are busy violating the human rights. They are unliving people over there. They are all aware about this. And instead of them sitting Paul Kagame down and teach him, if it is need for them to shout at him, they can do so. They are not doing that. Instead, they are even talking to him, if like they are speaking to him indirectly, knowing very well that this is the man who's behind all this and is working together with the Western. Instead of them having the courage to condemn what is bad, as we all doing it right now. well, these leaders, they were just sitting there and then they act like they were addressing strangers and they are not even able to address the proper problem. All they are telling us that no, we are calling for both parts, they must respect this and that, they must do this and that, but yet you can see one of you, your homologue, is busy losing power, and these people, they are busy destroying all their mission. They want to take him over by not respecting. This man was elected. This man, there's a people who fought for him to be in that power. Yet you are not doing nothing. They are busy killing innocent people, and you are busy celebrating with Paul Kagame like nothing is happening there. And these are the things which are giving Paul Kagame even more power, because the men seem not even to give up. At first he used to deny of his involvement in Congolese activities.
The others, maybe they have been recruited from different places, but the main bulk of this group, including the leaders of M23, came from Uganda. They did not come from Rwanda. So how did it become Rwanda's problem? So why doesn't DRC address the problems of their own people? Why do they have to put the weight of that on our shoulders? And I asked another time when we were having a conference like this, if anybody thinks Rwanda is in DRC, why should Rwanda be in DRC? M23 are not Rwandans, please. These are Congolese.
But right now, he's not denying it. Right now, Paul Kagame is even more clear. Have listened to what Paul Kagame, he recently said about what is happening in Congo right now. Paul Kagame did not beat around the bush. He have to address the matters in the rightful way, because he believes that it is all about Rwanda and the life of those Congolese women and children who are dying each and every day over there in Congo. It does not matter for him when he said this.
When it comes to defending this country that has suffered for so long and nobody came to the help, I don't need permission from anybody. To do what we have to do to protect ourselves. I will say it in broad daylight. I have said it to those who matter in this problem. And that's what is going to happen. You go home, sleep, don't do anything. There will be nothing crossing these borders of this small country of ours. If anybody attempts, so ntimugatinye ibitumbaraye. Sometimes birimo ubusa. Haba harimo umwuka. Umwuka, a balloon. A balloon, you need a needle. Just ibyari birimo ukayoberwaho bigiye. Ntimugatinye ibitumbaraye.
After listening to him, do you see any kind of fear in this man? Do you see any things which shows that this man cares about the life of people that are being killed in the eastern of Congo? No. Do you see any kind of Pan-Africans in this man? No. Do you see this man even care about whatsoever the international community have said, or the United Nations had called for him to cease fire in Congo? No. Actually, he's not even afraid of anyone. Instead, he's also advancing his reasons, saying that because of what we've been through, because of what Rwanda has been through, well, we are ready to do anything. Anything. And You know, before you used to make an excuse of saying that no, there is no troops, Rwandan troops in Congo. Instead, all we have done so far, is to deploy more soldiers on the borders between Rwanda and Uganda and Rwanda and DR Congo, because we don't want anyone to infiltrate our country. But today, do you see Paul Kagame denying again the presence of Rwandan troops in DRC? No. Do you know why? Because there's quite a lot of evidence out there which shows that, yes, Paul Kagame is the one who's behind all this. Paul Kagame have sent his soldiers in another sovereign country, in another African country, in order for them to go and put a lot of instability, in order for them to remove the leaders who are in power over there by killing innocent women and children. That is the man who's talking right here. That is not the man who's beating around the bush. It's kind of like telling the entire world, including even the Western, that it is either you guys you protect me right now, or you have to sacrifice me by crucifying me and then accept the consequences. And the consequences which Paul Kagame is kind of like referring here is by exposing each and every Western country, whether it is in Europe, whether it is with Americans, who are behind all this, because Paul Kagame is not doing all this by himself. Look how tiny the size of Rwanda it is. That is just a battle of a David against Goliath. Yet David succeeded to put Goliath down. Do you know why? Because there were a very powerful man behind David. Look to the Bible history. David succeeded to win over Goliath. It is all because he was having a very powerful man behind him who had given him the go ahead and said that, my son, I am behind you. Do not fear anyone. Go ahead and you're going to win this person. And that's what is happening. These things we should not see it in a very simple eye. We should all know that Paul Kagame with Rwanda army, they are not to the size enough in order for them to defeat the government of Kinshasa. Look how big DRC it is. Yet they become like that beautiful woman who's useless. They are not even having enough army to defend themselves against all these rebellions. Why? Because they are not fighting with Rwanda, but they are fighting with the multiple nations which are behind all this. How many times do we have to talk about this? These things, as we are talking right now, even inside European countries' parliaments, they are now debating it, because there are those people who have the heart, who have the feeling, who can understand that innocent women, children and men, they are being slaughtered out there. They are being destroyed out there. Therefore, we need at least to say something about this. But regardless of whatsoever is being said inside their parliament, whether it is in the AU parliament or in the American Senate, yet there is no actions, yet there is no one who has the courage to stop Rwanda. Why? Because they know very well that if we stop Rwanda with Paul Kagame today for not supporting this M23, because the truth is that these so-called M23 rebellions, they are not there on their own. These people, they have guns. Did you check their guns? They have the fighting weapons which represent a nation. How do they get it? Who sell it to them? Who are these companies? If it is not American companies, if it is not European companies, and in the world of a United Nations Charter, is it allowed for these all companies to be selling this kind of guns to the rebellion groups or to the terrorists? No. So obviously there is a government which is taking these guns in a legal ways and give it to these people. In the Europe, they've been saying it about it through their parliaments, saying that no, most of you guys are so hypocrites, because it is obvious that these people, they don't consider the life of Africans, they don't consider the life of people of Congo. But if it was about Ukraine, by this time, they will have stand on the front line and put serious sanctions about Russia or any other nations that can try to attack the country which they are trying to defend. And on the other side, we are having a Hitler of Africa, Paul Kagame, who's committing all this kind of crime. And he continues seriously threatening even other nations, including all the neighboring nations, saying that whoever's going to try to get involved in my business with Congo, then they'll have to find me on their way. He did it with Ramaphosa, president of South Africa, for no reasons. He even went far by accusing South Africa, saying that if there are true people who are stealing or benefiting from the Congolese minerals, that should be the South Africa government, which does not have the proof. Because even if that is the case, I can tell you here that all the companies which are from South Africa that we are having over there in Congo, well, it was all being planned legally, approved by the Congolese government. And besides that, there is not South African soldiers who are in Congo and busy killing innocent men, women, and children over there. They are there as a peacekeepers. But is that the case with Rwanda? No. Rwanda, he leaves his nations. Paul Kagame, I'm referring to. He leaves his nations. He go to another sovereign country and he start attacking them, giving them excuses, which does not even make sense. Remember when they asked him this question about why he's even being involved in Congolese matters? Listen to the answer of Paul Kagame.
A government that actually has not been elected, be it the first time or the second time. And the only thing they do is to persecute people or cause more chaos or just take everything for such a big country. And with all kinds of resources, human and otherwise, just for a small group of people, and they don't not only take everything by themselves, but they end up working against the rest, tens of millions of people. So why wouldn't, if anybody came up and questioned it, why would I have a problem with that? But it is different to say that I am part of it and supporting them to achieve that end goal. No, even if they would be right, like I'm saying, because of these questions that are raised all the time, I mean, it's none of my business to try and effect supporting them or do it for them to do the change that may be justified and they want to carry out. Here we are really mixing up things. For an entity, whichever it is in Congo, demanding its rights, first of all, of existence, secondly, of questioning those in power, how they are there or whether they should be there, and if they are there, doing the wrong things every day, theoretically and logically, I can understand what they are talking about.
This is how Paul Kagame is trying to defend himself by, first of all, accusing the government of Kinshasa that they were not elected. No one elected these people. And he even went far by accusing again the same government, saying that no, they are busy persecuting people in this country. What proof does he have? By the way, if I may ask, what evidence does he have that prove that, okay, this so-called government of Felix Tshisekedi, he was not elected? Because come to think of it, if there is anyone who have rigged the elections between Tshisekedi and Kagame, who could be that? Isn't it is the one? Because Tshisekedi, we all know that, yeah, even when he was declared as the winner of the elections, he never came out with 100% of votes. He never came out with 92% of votes, which is not the case with Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame came out with about 98% of votes. Which country is that? Is Paul Kagame a Jesus that no one can challenge a Jesus or what? We all know what he's been doing to his opponents over there in Rwanda, isn't it?
You really need to stop this superiority complex nonsense about human rights. You think you are the only ones who respect human rights, or others it's about violating human rights. No, we've fought for human rights and freedoms of our people much better and more than anyone, including you people who keep talking about this nonsense. Where we have taken our country from and where it is now speaks for itself. The rest of the story just comes from this complex. You know, these two worlds where there are people who know everything about human rights and all kinds of things, and another world where people are just people who don't know. But these are our human rights. It's not, when we respect the things we respect in our countries, it's not for you, it's not for anybody else, it's for ourselves.
Is it not
So
universal?
you don't sit
right?
there. Yes, it is universal, but you don't sit there. If it is universal and you believe it, then you don't become the judge yourself. You don't start telling the others what to do, what they should not to do, or that what they are doing is not to your satisfaction. Who are you when you were there just talking about more or less nonsense? Because
do you reject the accusations, for example, from
it's
Amnesty
rubbish,
International?
absolute rubbish.
You reject
RWANDA is completely different from what it was 25 years ago. In fact, maybe you need to be looking around in Europe. You are violating people's rights. When we have this problem of people being bundled and sent back to sink in the Mediterranean and so on, and so many people being mistreated in your own countries, why don't you talk about your human rights and stop just offloading everything?
Well, this is a development conversation, so
no,
in the context of development.
You are not the one to determine what conversation or what points to raise in any conversation. You are asking questions, this is what I'm saying. You are asking questions and you are giving yourself answers.
This is the man who scared everyone who want to oppose him. This is the man who assassinate even those who were in exile. How many of them he killed in South Africa, and how many of them he tried to kill in South Africa and all over around the world? How many of cases does he have so far because of him trying to killing each and every person who wants to resist him? Because the man he believed that he's been there, so he want to die in power, forgetting that even after he die, there's a life to live after all. And people of Rwanda, they will live life, they will find someone else. So it should not be someone who have to come and give us a lesson of who was not elected and who's being elected, because there is no way Paul Kagame will tell me that was elected if it did not rig the elections. Because that elections that took place in Rwanda, it was not free and fair. We all know about that. This is the man that does not even respect the human rights. He scares everyone. You can't criticize him. I mean, this is a dictator, guys. We are talking about any dictator. So he don't have anything good that he can tell us about this. Now he's talking about the government trying to do this and that. But guys, even that's the problem. I mean, if that is a problem, if that's true as he's trying to make it look like, that no, the Congolese Tutsi, they are being executed over there, they are being this and that. What is your business? You say very well that they are Congolese Tutsi. That is a problem. You should leave it for the Congolese to solve it among themselves. If you have problem with that, go and address this problem in the United Nations, in the African Unions, these places where you guys usually meet. This is where you need to go and address this problem. That's what they usually do. We're seeing it right now with Donald Trump and Elon Musk trying to address the conflict between the Boers farmers in South Africa with the ANC government. We're seeing it in Sudan, where they are talking about the full community and all this. These are the matters which need to be discussed in big platforms according to the issue. But that does not give you the right for you to leave your country, to go all the way to another nation, and now start killing people over there. Because you are accusing the government of Congo executing people. But this your M23 boys that we have sent over there in Congo, they are killing each and every day. So far, they are talking about 3,000 people who have lost their life. Who's now executing people over there? Can you tell us? So Paul Kagame must stop fooling people, because we are not children to just listen to what he have to say. But he not stop there. Listen to what he had to say after that.
As for M23 is one party, there are even bigger parties to the problem. Do you want me to sympathize with the Kinshasa government that is actually the root cause of all these problems, or behind these problems we have today? Of course not. Do you want to question whether I would have any sympathies for M23? I will, based on facts and evidence. One, this is a group representing a bigger group of people that are being persecuted, that are actually being killed, that are being displaced. And we have so many refugees here in Rwanda, hundreds of thousands from that situation. And this is not the first time, by the way, they are fighting. So why does it come 10 years after? Secondly, they are being persecuted like that because they are being associated by the people in Rwanda. M23 said these are Tutsis, so they should go to Rwanda. But we are not, Rwanda is not the one that took them to Congo. So the issue of being sympathetic to M23 or to, I mean, actually, I wonder why wouldn't anybody be sympathetic to them? If anybody has a sense of judgment, correct judgment, of identifying the problem as it is. Would I sympathize with FDLR in Eastern Congo? Do you want me to sympathize with the militias the Wazalendo the government has put together to fight this ethnic war? Do you want me to sympathize with the Burundi that has entered this conflict on ethnic basis, that is also involved with the government in persecuting these people, or fighting them, or killing them?
Now, here, once again, Paul Kagame is telling us that instead of him sympathizing with Kinshasa, with the government of Congo, he rather sympathized with these M23 rebellions who are busy committing serious massacres, who are busy violating the human rights, who are busy breaking up all the international rules which they had signed for. This is a leader of another country who's confessing to this kind of crime. So he kind of like supporting them, backing them up so that they can go and fight this government of Kinshasa. But we all know the reason behind all this. Paul Kagame is not doing this on his own. He's doing this because he's in a mission which they had a certain kind of agreement between him and the Western, who are using him in order for them to continue looting the mineral of Congo. That is the naked truth. And that is the reason why they are so quiet in all this. They're not talking anything about it. Donald Trump being asked in an open sky in front of everyone, the entire world listening to him, after he had comment about what is happening in Israel, Gaza, Pakistan, after commenting what is happening in Ukraine and Russia. But now when it comes to the problem of Congolese, they are asking him by the journalist, Mr. President, what do you think about what is happening in DRC right now? We need to also have your opinion. Donald Trump, he failed by giving the answer which people, they were not even expecting for it to come from his mouth.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. The situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is getting worse, even though President John Lorenzo has been mediating the conflict between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo because he wants to bring peace and stability. The situation is really bad right now. I want to hear from Ms. President if you have any plan in the future to bring peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
You're asking me a question about Rwanda, and it is a very serious problem, I agree, but I don't think it's appropriate right now to talk about it, but it is a very serious problem.
The many fail to give the proper answer. Instead, he chose to tell us that no, this is not a priority. Yes, the priority for him, it was for people of Ukraine. The priority for him, it was for people of Israel, and not for us, Africans. not for people of Congo. That's the message which Donald Trump was doing, saying there. Why is he doing that? Because they know very well that the moment peace will reign between Congo and Rwanda, they will have a lot to lose. Look who the people who are next to Donald Trump. Elon Musk. Who's Elon Musk? This is a man who had donated more than 122 million US dollar. Calculate it in your local currency and tell me how much is it. Isn't it? It's billions and billions of money. He donated to Donald Trump campaign so that he can become the president of America. And this man, when he's doing this, obviously needs something in return because he's a businessman. Businessmen, they don't give something for free. They give you something in exchange of something else that will benefit them. Something that they will have to take to have some profit. And Elon Musk is the owner of Tesla. Tesla is electrical cars. These vehicles, they can't run without the Congolese products because it needs batteries. It needs different things inside. And it is only Congolese minerals that's there as a solution to all this. Now, just because of that, these people, they will never gonna allow peace to reign in Congo. These people, they will never gonna want to see Rwanda staying away from Congo because Rwanda at the same time is there to benefit from this. It's there to make sure that at the end of the day, they'll end up declaring a part of the eastern of Congo to be their soil. They want to steal the land from Congo because if you are in your country and every time your eyes is always over by the other side of your neighbors and saying that that neighbor, he was busy beating the wife last night. That neighbor is busy doing this and that. That neighbor abuses his children. When you keep on trying to putting your nose where it does not belong, it is because at the end of the day, you'll find yourself to your neighbor's place, fighting your neighbor. And when you are being asked a question, what are you doing over there? You'll be like, nah, I'm here because I thought maybe, I'm here because I want to defend this woman. I'm here because of that. No one invites you. No one invites you. Okay? Leave whatever it is happening in Congo. If it is that the case, let it be solved between Congolese. You're no one. Why? And if that's even the case, why other nations such as this neighboring Zambia, Tanzania, Burundi, they are not involved in this? Why them they are not saying anything? You are the only one who's having something to say. Of course, because you are in the mission. Now, guys, in this so-called African Union that they participate, they had to ask a question. Because as we know now, the African Union, they are now having a new chairman or chairperson, whatever. And no one else is the Joao Lourenço, the president of Angola. And this is the man who's been the mediators between these two countries. Is the one who's been leading this peace talk between the Congolese government and the Rwandan government for some time. So now that he has become the African chairperson, obviously he could not take it anymore. So he asked if they can replace him with someone else, because he was also being signed by the African Union. So he asked that if they can replace these things, I mean, if they can replace him with someone else. And looking at how things are sitting on the table right now, there's a possibility that there will be no one else to replace him if it is not one of the Congolese neighboring country. And looking among all the 9 countries which are borders with Congo, of course they are seeing Congo Brazzaville, and according to them, they say that President Sassou Nguesso is the rightful man to play this middleman role, because they say that he have a good relationship with both presidents, whether it's President Felix Tshisekedi or whether it's the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. So they say that him should be the middleman from all this. But there's an interview which President Sassou Nguesso of Congo Brazzaville had given, which end up raising up a lot of doubt from the Congolese side, because now Congolese from Kinshasa, they don't want him to be the middleman from all this, because they could see him already that is not the right person, regardless of what these other leaders they are seeing in him. This man, first of all, he recently signed a contract, should I say a deal, a proper word to say, which he had to give a land in Congo Brazzaville. He gave it to Rwanda government. Paul Kagame was in Rwanda recently. They signed that contract whereby he gave them a land that the Rwandan they should go and cultivate there. They should go and make farms over there. And that does not sit okay, because remember, they are both neighbors. And right now the relationship between Congo and Rwanda, it does not sit okay. So if you have to have a friendship with Rwanda, you have to mind it is either you are a friend with Rwanda and leave Congo, or you are a friend with Congo and leave Rwanda out, because it does not sit okay. And the fact that Congo Brazzaville, they are this closer to Congo Kinshasa, it is on the river, the Congolese river, the Congo River, I mean to say, the Congo River that separated them. So this, it is one of the fear which the Congolese government, they don't feel comfortable to have such kind of a mediator who can come and intervene in the conflict between them and Rwanda. Now, they had to ask President Sassou Nguesso on how he sees everything, because they had even to ask him about whether, if he's the leader who have to take these matters, how will he handle it? Is he ready to sanction Rwanda? And have listened to what was his answer.
Do you think that other heads of state, maybe you, for example, could be mediators in this crisis between Felix Tshisekedi, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Paul Kagame?
The president of Rwanda, yes, I'm sure there will be other African heads of state, incidentally, including...
You can act as a mediator in this crisis, potentially.
Well, that's what we'll see, but...
You're not pushing him away? You have good relations with both presidents? It is?
I mean, we have good relations, and with the two presidents, we have discussed this issue in the past with the President Tshisekedi and with the President Paul Kagame several times.
But to smooth out the differences between you, which are severe, we saw it during meetings here, we see it on the ground. Do you think they should meet? They've been avoiding each other lately.
Yes, I think we will create the conditions for them to meet. I don't see how such a problem could be solved without the two leaders meeting. Conditions should be created for them to meet.
Is the DRC demanding sanctions, including African sanctions against Rwanda? Do you support it, or do you think it is counterproductive?
Well, we are in a conflict situation. Each side is trying to get some advantages. But for us, what is important is that dialogue. It's a blind in one form and another.
So no sanction, you are not in favor of it. I'm fine, I got it. Good.
The sanctions have not always solved the problem. What matters to us is the search for a real solution.
Is that it?
Then in LA.
Crisis, can the African Union achieve it? Because it is true that there is this crisis. There are many others on the continent. It seems that the African Union's mediations are struggling to function, that even the African Union as an institution is struggling to exist to resolve conflicts on its continent.
This is somewhat true, but Africans have traditionally been capable of solving their issues independently. It is not necessarily required that. We follow the example of others, especially not without Africans, and we do not reject the contribution of other partners and friends in the world. But Africa must be at the center.
You see why I always say that African leaders are so hypocrites? You see why I don't trust African leaders? Because when something need for them to react, be honest to one another as brothers from one mother, and tell each other the truth and condemn what is bad, they become to be so hypocrites They rather prefer to act like they're not aware about it, like they try to do things differently. President Sassou Nguesso from Congo Brazzaville is well aware of this whole entire situation for many years. He knows the truth. If there is one person who knows the truth about all this, it is him. It is Yoweri Museveni from Congo Brazzaville, from Burundi. It is who else? The former president of Burundi, Nkurunziza. These presidents, they know the entire truth of what is happening in Central of Africa. Because this is a matter which concerns the whole region. Yet, see how he get to react. Instead of saying that, no, I'm going to go there and address the matters and call each and everything for what it is. It's going there like, no, you see, the thing is we are Africans, blah, blah, blah. But you can tell, even if you are Africans, even if you are brothers from one mother and one father, when someone is wrong, before you get to condemn, before you address, after listening to both sides, you need to have also the courage to tell the person that, no, look, bro, you are wrong on this one. You're supposed not to kill your wife, your brother's wife. You're supposed not to be killing your own nieces and your own nephews. At least have the courage to condemn what is bad. But what is he doing in all this? Already is giving the bad impression, intention, to say, when they ask him, because right now, the only way or the only thing can stop Paul Kagame from all this, after listening to the footage which I played for you, where he's saying that we are ready to do anything after everything that we've been in this country, while we are ready to do anything, so we're not going to listen to anyone and no one will never going to stop us. Those are his words and not mine. A man who sounds like that, a man who's so determined to go ahead and continue doing whatever he's doing, even at the cost of a human life. The only things that can stop him from all this is by coming with sanctions. Is by coming, for example, saying that from now on, Rwanda, you are not going to buy fighting weapons. From now on, you are not going to receive this and that. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. Where is the African Union? The useless organizations. They're not doing it. The Western, they're not even doing it. The only sanctions they feel like doing or imposing on other nations is for them to come to South Africa and tell South Africa that, no, we're going to cut the foundings of the AIDS and what. But where people, everyone, they're expecting them to take actions, they're not doing it. The kind of people who are living with. And here comes now a person who's supposed to be the middleman, who's supposed to call each and everything by its name, who's supposed to be condemning what is wrong and what is bad, is coming and saying that, no, sanction never solve any problem. Sanction never worked. Sanction is not good for people of Rwanda. But yet, they are busy killing people. So, what solution are they saying here? And this is what end up raising up a lot of doubt on the Congolese side from Kinshasa for them to rely on this man. Because if there were one person who can come forward and tell people the truth, that would be him. He knows the whole situation. This man has been in power for so many years. Again here, I say, as I said at the beginning, I'm blaming the African Union. Because for me, I found it is a very useless organization. Now I understand why people such as Ibrahim Traoré and different leaders are distancing themselves, isolating themselves from this organization. Because it is an organization which showing that actually these leaders, they can be guarded over there. But at the end of the day, they are not the one who are deciding. Someone have to decide. As I always ask every time, what does the representative of the European Union do in the meeting, in the conversations which concern Africans alone? Why do they always have to invite the presence of the Europe in this African summit? Then they are even giving them the platform. They will call Antonio Guterres, the SG of the United Nations, to be there. For what reason? We all know that this man is a representative of this Western. He will come and take all your secret that you guys are discussing among yourself, and it's gonna go and report it to the United Nations. It's gonna give it to the US. It's gonna give it to the British and France. And at the end of the day, they'll come and stand on your way. Yet when these people, these Europeans, when they sit on their corners, when they're discussing their own problems. You are not allowed to attend their conference, whether it is their parliament session, without their invitations. They don't invite you, yet you guys are just there, allowing them to come in. So this is an institution that Africans, a true Pan-Africans, we can't really believe in it. We can't rely for any good things to come out of this institution, because they are not really trying to be there to defend Africans. They are not there to solve the problem of Africans. See, there's something small like the one of Congo. They are not able to decide. The one is happening in South Sudan. They are incapable of deciding. They are not able to handle African matters. Even when they say something, no one listens to them. Proof to that, when they send a delegate, which was represented by President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, and 6 more countries of Africa like Egypt, Nigeria, Congo, there were a couple of them who went all over to see Vladimir Putin and Ukraine. Did you guys still remember what they did to them? How they came back all humiliated. So the voice of Africans, it does not count anymore. As I asked this question in the video that we discussed with you yesterday, that how come we are 54 countries, 54 flags that represent our sovereignty in the United Nations, yet our voice is not being heard in the United Nations? Regardless of what we have to say over there, no one pay attention to us. No one ever tried to listen to us. Why? Because of our skin color. Why? Because of the former mentalities which they still have of what happened during the time of their colonizations. They're still seeing us in the low space. They don't want us to be in the same level. They still want us to be listening to what they have to say, but them they don't have to listen to what us we have to tell them. So I think the solution to all these conflicts that we are seeing between Rwanda and Kinshasa should be for the Africans and African leaders to have the courage to look Paul Kagame into the eyes and tell him the truth of what he's doing, that what you're doing is wrong. We're going to dishonor you as our fellow Africans if you continue like this. Because you know very well that these Western are not to be trustworthy. Today they're using you. Once they're done with you, they'll make sure that you don't even stay alive. They'll kill you. So we don't want to lose you. It is either you come and join us by being united as a one family, and stop your nonsense that you're doing to facilitate the Western in order for them to come and steal the Congolese mineral. Guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video until now. I really do appreciate your presence. I really do also appreciate your time watching this video until now. I'm asking you, give us your thumbs up. We really do appreciate that. It is a way of you also encouraging us in order for us to continue doing what we are doing for you on the daily basis. Please also don't forget to show your opinion with us in the comment section. Tell us what you think about what Paul Kagame is doing and what the African Union is failing to do as an institution that is supposed to be there for Africans. So I believe that will be all for now. I'm looking forward to see you again in our next video. But for now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.